Hi boys and girls, this is Mrs. Lemons and I'm going to just talk to you a little bit about some of your math work and some of the things in your packet. So looking at this paper, I don't know if you've done it already, but talking about graphs, just a couple things to remember about them. I really enjoy graphs. I think they're a good way to organize, and here's this word data. Data is just information. You can have information in math, you can have information in reading, but graphs are a way to organize data, information. So this first one that you are asked to do, this is about bar graphs. Now, we did bar graphs with your Mad Minutes where you graphed them. And when we did it with your Mad Minutes, it was vertical, it was up and down. There were 30 problems and you colored in how many you got right. The one that you are doing for this page is a horizontal bar graph. So if you look up here, instead of it going up and down, it goes across. But bar graphs are nice to look at because very quickly you can see with the information which one is the biggest, which one is the smallest, and you can compare them. So bar graphs are a really good way to compare different information. Remember, anytime you're doing these math papers, we would normally watch Froggy. Well, obviously you're not watching Froggy, but if you open to the inside, this is where the lesson starts. So in this lesson, it highlights the word bar graph, what it is, and then also the word data. And like we said, data is kind of a big word, but data is just information. So we have also told you that you can skip a lot of times the first page because that's something we would do in class. So usually I would go right to the inside part that tells about the lesson and then go ahead and get started. So you have this page, the other page, and then on the backs of most of the pages, you can do the first couple problems, but we said you can always skip the journal. If you really would like to do the journal, obviously you can always do extra things, but you don't have to. Okay, so that first one was on bar graphs, and the next one is on pictographs. So pictograph, if you even see the word picto, the root word in that, picto, would come from picture. So pictograph is going to be a graph that uses pictures, small little symbols for something. So even if, we're going to go to the inside, but if you look at this part here of the graph, it says each book stands for one child. So anytime you have any graph, you need to see what things stand for, but especially in a picture graph or a pictograph, maybe the book would stand for one child sometimes, maybe sometimes it would stand for 2 or 5. You just always have to look at the information. But if we look inside, again at the top, it gives our little lesson and it's highlighted symbol. And in a pictograph, your picture is going to stand for a symbol. It's going to stand for something. Usually too, the symbol is going to make sense with the graph. If it's talking about books, it's going to be a picture of a book. If it's talking about kids, it's probably a picture of kids. You can see in this part here, this pictograph, it said favorite ball games at the top. So it has baseball, it has soccer, and it has tennis. And again, making sure that you see that each of the little kids in this graph represents one child. Sometimes, a lot of times it's one, but sometimes in pictographs it can stand for more than one or a different amount. So on this page, after you kind of know what they are, I want you to complete this page as well. Sometimes, and again, you're going to have little kids. The kid drawing is what it's going to stand for. You're going to take this data, this information, and put it here into a pictograph, as well as doing the back part as well. But you don't have to do the journal. Okay? They're also on the Google Classroom. There's a link on pictographs if you want to watch that little video clip as well on pictographs. And then it takes us to the last math paper where it says use a graph. And I just wanted to point out, again, you can skip the front here. But where the one before showed the bar graph horizontally, this shows the bar graph vertically, like what we were used to seeing with our Mad Minute graph. And then if you look here, I always think pictographs are kind of cute too. This one is in Mattel's closet, and all the little pictures stand for different things in her closet. Again, what would make sense? the picture goes along with what you're comparing. And then the back of this is one that you do not have to do. So I hope you're doing well with your work at home. This is just a review page on double-digit subtraction. Hopefully you haven't forgotten how to do that. And money, we were going to do a little bit more with money if we had been together, but don't forget it. Make sure you know what the coins are, how much they're worth, and you're able to count collections of them as well. And then just kind of seeing how you're doing with things. There was nothing for you to do with this paper. We just wanted to give you an example, but I hope you're growing your beans. And the first word that it talks about is germinating, when they're just starting to grow here. It almost looks like little tails. And then there's the sprouting, the growing, and then if you're going to plant the flowers for Mother's Day for Mom, you don't have to, but if you wanted to, it may not turn out like this flower, but hopefully it will be a flower that you can give to Mom. So I hope your beans are growing and doing well and you're excited on the things that you're seeing. You're recording it in your journal. The reading log, I hope you're reading some good books and you're able to write down the titles and everything, so when I go to check your work that you can. There will probably be a check-in date in another week or so make sure you're keeping up with things, and I hope you're doing great. Miss you. Bye-bye.